So these are going to be a couple of post-race stretches. Hopefully everyone had a great run today. And if not, I'm sorry. The first thing we're going to start with basically is we're going to start at your feet. We're going to work our way up to your mid-back and your hips. And we'll start with a arch stretch. You want to take your foot against a wall or a box. Have your toes pointed up towards the ceiling, but your foot's completely flat on the wall or the floor. And the only thing that's really up are your toes. Just through your heel, and then you'll lean forward to stretch the arch of your foot, the arches of your feet. You can hold on to something to balance. Again, if you're using a box, you can lean forward a little bit further than you can if you're on a wall. But right here, you'll see me switch to a wall, and you'll see exactly how it looks. So, my toes are against the wall, rest of my foot's flat on the floor, as flat as possible, and I'm just leaning forward. And you'll want to hold that from anywhere between 30 seconds and 2 minutes. You can do like 2 sets of 30 or 2 sets of 60, but you really want to hold this until it's nice and smooth. Next, we're going to move into a toe extension stretch. So the top of your foot is on the floor, and you're pressing down through your toes. You'll feel this stretch out the top of your foot and sort of the front part of your calf as well that aligns next to the tibia. Hold this for up to a minute. We'll get both sides here. You want to be able to control this as much as you can. And then we'll shift over and we'll go down to the floor for a calf stretch. There's different variations of how you can do this calf stretch. I'm starting off sort of in a downward dog position, keeping my heel down on the floor, straightening out that right leg as much as I can. And I'll hold it there. You'll want to hold this for 30 to 60 seconds and then switch to the other leg. And then the other way I do this is you'll see coming up, I'm going to use a dumbbell, and I'll place my foot on top of the dumbbell and let my heel drop down to the floor. This is a little bit easier if you have like control issues holding the posture for the downward dog calf stretch, because you can put your foot up and you can sort of lean into it and give it as much weight as you want. I recommend doing this with shoes on though. It's a little bit uncomfortable on your foot, especially after running. The final way I actually don't show here, but most people have done this sort of calf stretch anyway, is you can go stand on your stairs and let your heels drop out. So your heels fall down towards the floor, your toes stay up on the stairs. You can stretch your calves out that way. Either way, any of these stretches will be extremely helpful. You can also do each of these stretches with a bent knee or a straight leg. Try a little bit of both, see which works best for you. Good. Next, I'm going to go down to the floor. And I grab the foam roller just for balance, but if you have like a box, or you can keep your hands on the floor. But what I'm doing is I'm turning my knee out towards the outside of my hip, and I'm rotating off onto the outside of my foot. And then I'm going to lean down as far as I can. I can sort of get my elbow down to the foam roller here. Some people can get their elbow all the way down to the floor. Today I cannot. And then you'll fall back into a hamstring stretch. You're going to hold this hamstring stretch for 30 seconds. And then you'll rotate forward again. And you'll stretch out your hips, but this time your foot is flat on the floor. And you'll switch legs. Same thing on the other side. I'm going to emphasize that torque on the knee a little bit more. So I'm rotating to the outside of my foot. Open up your hips as much as you can. Hands will come down. And again, if you can, you have to balance, you can drop your elbows down. Good. Then you'll push back, stretch out the hamstring. Hold that for about 30 seconds. And then we'll go forward again. And we'll stretch out the hips. You should feel like you can get a little bit deeper the second time through these stretches than you did the first, as it breaks up all the stiffness in your joints. Awesome. Then we're going to do a little bit of glute and hamstring stretching. So we'll start off on our back and we're going to pull our knee in, give it a nice hug as tight as you can. You can sort of let this leg drift across your body a little bit. It'll stretch out your glute a little bit more. Then we'll release it. And we'll pull it back in and extend our foot out straight so we can stretch our hamstring. Each of these you want to try to hold for about a minute. I'm rushing through it a little bit here, but you want to try to hold both of these. If you need something to help hold your leg up, if you can't quite reach up as high as I am, you can grab like a towel or sort of a band or a strap if you have one. But every time you want to pull your knee in first, give it a nice hug, then extend and release, and then you'll switch into a hamstring stretch and extend that straight up to the ceiling. The other thing is, if it's too difficult for you to do this with that opposite leg straight, you can do it with your knee bent and just hold it there, but hopefully you can work into both ways. Butterflies are next. So we're going to bring our heels together. We're going to sit up as straight as we can, push down on our inner thighs. We're going to hold this, and then we're going to go into a twist where we'll keep our feet where they are now. We'll bring one hand behind our shoulders, the other hand to the opposite knee and twist. Try to keep your chest upright. And then we'll just switch back to the other side. You're really just trying to open up your hips and loosen up your back as much as possible. We're going to do hips and back next. So now we're laying flat on our back and we're going to open up our knee to the outside of its same shoulder. So my right knee's coming out to the outside of my right shoulder. And I'm going to hold my leg down with my right hand. And then I'm going to pull it across my body, try to bring my knee all the way to the other side. And I'm going to try to open up my shoulders as much as I can. If you can, keep both shoulders flat on the floor as you do this, even as you open up to the outside and when you pull back across. And then the last stretch we're going to do is sort of my favorite. It's a double 90 quad stretch. So you want to pull your knee up towards your hip so that your bottom leg makes sort of a 90-degree angle. And then you're going to grab your back leg so that makes a 90-degree angle as well. And you'll hold onto your toe and we'll stretch out there. This one you want to hold about the longest. You gotta stretch out your quads. And as you're holding the stretch, if you squeeze your glutes and push your hips forward, you'll feel sort of a more intense stretch in your quad. It'll hit your hip flexors a little bit.